In this video, I will create this simple login form using React Hook Form and Material UI. Creating forms using React Hook Form and Material UI can really speed up the development process. Material UI provides ready-to-use components, while React Hook Form helps manage the data and input validation. First, I will start out by creating a next.js application using npx create next app. First, it will ask for the name of my project, and I will call it next with magic auth. Once it finishes up installing everything, I can open up the project in VS Code with the command code and then the file name next with magic auth. In VS Code, I can open up the terminal using command J and then start the development server using npm run dev. So here it will start the development server at localhost 3000. So when I go to localhost 3000 in my browser, I'm going to see the starting template. First thing I will do is to create login.jsx. And here I will have my login page component. And at first it will just say hello. So now when I navigate to the login route, I will be able to see the hello. Opening up a new terminal window, I will now install Material UI Core and React Hook Form. After I have finished installing it, I will restart my development server just in case, because sometimes there are issues with Material UI. And now I can import a Material UI component TextField. So navigating to the page, I can see this component. To change how it looks, I can use a different variant, say outlined. And here I will have the input field be outlined. Now I want to center it. So to do that, I will need another one of Material UI's components called container. And I will let container be the outer component. And then I will pass in max width parameter and set it to XS. So now my content has been centered. Here I can specify that this text field will be an email field and that it should take full width of its container. Now it has placeholder text, email. There are other useful properties I can pass, such as autocomplete equal to email and autofocus. And I like how for each property it gives a description of what it will do. So here it says that for autofocus, if true, the input element will be focused during the first mount. Now we need a button. It will have the text login /sign up. And I will need to import this component. So now here I have the button. However, I would like for it to have different style. So I will specify that the variant should be contained. Now this button has background color. To change the background color, I can set color to be primary. So now the button becomes this blue color. And passing in one more property, now the button will take up the entire width. To give some spacing between the input field and the button, I will need to use another component. Of course, I could have done it with CSS, but here I will use the box component. I can specify the margin at the bottom. And now we see that there is spacing between the two components. Now we want to build up the functionality of this form. So when I press this button, I wanted to submit the content of the text field. So to do that, I need to wrap the input and the button into a form HTML element. And I need to specify that the type of this button is a submit button. And now I can define onSubmit method, which will take in data and then just console.log the data. And here is where the React hook form comes in. So I will import useForm. And then I can use this hook in my component to get register method and handle submit. Now into my form component, I can wrap the onSubmit method with the handle submit. What this handle submit method will do, it will handle the form submit and make it easier to use so that I would simply get the data. And I also need to tell React hook form which input fields I want to collect data from. And that's why I would need to use the register method. So at the end, I just pass it in like this. I will give this field name email. And for now, I can pass in an options object to specify that this is a required field. So I can type in hello, and then I get console.log statement with hello attached to the email field on an object. So what React hook form does here, it helps me avoid boilerplate code so that I can get this form data with just a couple of lines of code. And React hook form also helps with input validation. For example, I could get form state and then errors out of this hook. And then I can pass errors to material UI text field. I can check whether or not I have errors. And then I can use double exclamation to turn it into a Boolean. The text field can display a helper text. If there is an error with the email, then I will pass in the error message. Otherwise, I will just pass in null. So now if I try to submit an empty form, you can see it won't let me submit the form and the UI will change to reflect the error state and it will display the error message, which is just required. I can easily change the error message. So now when I submit an empty field, it will say required field. And I can do further validation using regex. For example, I can pass in a pattern to match. So I actually looked this regex up on Stack Overflow, and I like this regex because it's very simple and I just want the very basic email validation. And if it's not a valid email, then it will display invalid email address error. So here, if I type in just a random string of letters, it will tell me that the email is invalid. And when the field is empty, it will go back to the required field error. And it will run the onSubmit method only when I have a valid email here. As you can see, it will console.log this data. This completes the UI for the login form. In the next video, I will take email address and authenticate the user using service called magic.link. I hope to see you in the next video and good luck with your projects.